Hi everyone, welcome to another review. Today we have 5 books by the illustrator Uusikuuu. Hopefully I'm saying that right, probably not. But Uusikuuu is a Finnish artist who is just a tiny bit obsessed with witches. She is the author of 5 colouring books, which we have here. And all of these are full of original hand-drawn art that is cosy, fun and filled with magic and interesting details. She loves all things fantasy and wishes it was Halloween year round. So you can find her on the Instagram account and it's at Uusikuuu. There's how you spell it. And she's got some great art on the Instagram page, and lots of people have coloured these already. And if you follow the hashtag, you can see everybody's amazing artwork. So we're going to get started with the first one, witches, and then I'll go through the rest of them. So we're going to do this quite quickly because obviously we have 5 books to get through. And here you can see we've got a book was coloured by page with lots of elements to colour around it. And a bit of a copyright information there. Then we're straight into the images. And like I said, I'm just going to flip through these fairly quickly. So if you want to slow it down or pause it to see details, feel free to do so. So every illustration has a name and that is listed on the back of the illustration. So this one here would be called Midnight Express. And then this one here is called Pumpkin Heads. So every illustration has a name. Now we've got a mixture of illustration styles here. Some of the colouring pages are made up of elements like this. So individual things that you can colour, all with the overarching theme of witches. So I thought that these were really fun to review and colour for this Halloween spooky season. So as we go through, you'll notice that there are always 2 witches depicted. It's never a witch on her own. And I think that's quite nice because it shows the how witches have covens and there's always more than one. And it's that nice kind of friendship feeling as well. So as you can see, this is the one that I've coloured for this book. I did all of my colouring throughout 5 of these books with alcohol markers. So the reason for that is because the paper isn't that great. It is printed by Amazon. So if you have Amazon printed books, you will know exactly what I mean. It is incredibly thin. There is a very slight bit of tooth on it, so it will catch your coloured pencil pigments. But I just prefer to do it with markers when we've got paper this thin, because also it's one-sided and you can do that. So obviously it depends on people's preference. Some people would say with paper this thin not to bother with markers because you can't get really nice blends on it with the markers. So alcohol markers are known for being really good at creating seamless blends, and with thin paper it's quite difficult sometimes to get the markers to blend nicely. Don't know whether this is going to show up on camera, but there is a bit of a distinct line between the 2 blues in the background here, and just in different places you'll see that it's not perfectly blended. But it's a fast way of doing these images, and I think the vibrancy of the alcohol ink really lends itself to these illustrations. But you can do it with pencil. I'm going to try a bit of pencil on the last page of one of these colouring books, do a quick blend and see what I think about pencil. But yeah, I've done all of mine with markers. So yeah, really enjoyed colouring this, and I really like how I've kept the colour scheme quite cohesive. So really on here all we've got is the blue of the background, and then green in various shades, and grey. There's a few little touches of raspberry red, and obviously the blonde for the hair, which kind of matches with the skin tone and the stars in the sky. But quite a cohesive palette overall. So yeah, what I really like, look at all that bleed, see what I mean? But what I really like about these books is that they are really simple. So you can colour these with your kids, you can colour them alone as an adult colourist, because they do have still a bit of detail incorporated. They're not so simple that, you know, you probably wouldn't be interested in colouring it, but there is a variation throughout the book of simplicity and intricacy. So for example, this will be a very simple page, and you've got a bit more detail on this one, and then you've got your elements again. Fairly simple page, I suppose. And this one's a little bit more detailed, and some of them are contained in a border and some of them aren't. So really there is a very good variation depending on what you feel like colouring that day. Here's one that's just a bit more detailed and full. And the line art is really consistent as well. So there are some thicker black outlines and then you've got some thinner ones for detail, but it all seems really, really consistent. This is really nice. This is like a brooch that you might find in an old haunted house, and then you've got the portraits of the two witches on either side. Really nice image, doing some spell work at night and cozying up under a blanket to read their potion books. So we're really high up to the top of a tree here. You've got all of that sky in the background to colour. And then some more witchy elements, all different. So none of these match any of the other element pages. Got a huge bonfire here. And again, another simple one with some fairly dark line art. And then we've got the witches baking some Halloween treats in the kitchen. Sharing a cup of cocoa on the picnic blanket. And cozying up on a rainy day. So for example, with something like this, you could practice a lot of light sourcing with the lamps, the bulbs that are on the top of the page there. And then obviously the outside might be a flash of thunder that you could sort of try and incorporate and make the rest of it quite dark. We've got a Halloween cake and a Christmas tree. So I think it's Christmas in Halloween because all of these are like pumpkin, mushroom decorations, and we've got a bauble here that says the 31st, which is obviously the day of Halloween. So that's the first book. I'm going to go straight on to the next one, which is Witches Around. And it's pretty much the same thing when you open the book. You've got a book was coloured by with some elements, and then you're straight into the illustrations. So again, going to go through this fairly quickly. Some more elements. This one's cool. I was going to colour this one, but I thought I would save colouring any pumpkins until the last two books. This really is a bit more of a longer flip through. So I am talking throughout it, but I'm trying to make it more like a flip through so that we actually get through all 5 books in decent time. Really like this one. I really like the enclosed ones. And again, just lots of detail. I think I've missed one there because the paper's so thin, it's very easy to miss one. So they're creating a potion here. Love the little flame face. Out to tea. And look at these cute little kitty umbrellas. It looks like these witches are out and about in the real world. I guess that's what Witches Around, the title, is alluding to. So they've got their wellies on. It's a rainy day. We've got some owl post. So they're going to send a letter. And this looks like just a little tea party with pumpkin cake. And look at these, look at the teapot. Like, how cool is it? There's a lot of really original ideas in these books. Some big creepy gates. And baking again. This one's really cool as well because they just look like a couple of normal teenagers. You wouldn't know that they were witches, but obviously they've got witches hats on. But look at these little ghost knee pads. How cute. And then they're getting ready for a night on the town, I guess. And here's the one that I've coloured. So I decided to go with something a bit simpler this time because I did a more detailed one in the previous book. And you can see that some of my ink has bled through. Now this happened because I was using a piece of particle board underneath so that I wasn't going on to the next illustration with my heavy markers. And the blue that I coloured this dress with remained on the particle board. So when I came over and moved it to colour the yellow bit, some of the blue transferred on from the board. So that's just showing you how thin it is really, that even slight bits of ink that are left on your underneath thing will come back through the paper. So just be aware of that. This one's cool. So it's like they're getting tangled up in all of the rushes and lily pads and things like that. Here we're doing some sweeping with a gramophone, so we've got some music on. Always good to do your housework to a soundtrack, I find. Absolutely hate housework, but it has to be done. And music helps, I think. So these are like cherry blossoms, sakura blossoms. And we've definitely got an Asian theme to this. If you look at the little bits of details, the bamboo waterfall here, and this little building looks very much like a Chinese sculptured building. So there are a lot of little things that you might not notice on first glance. Going out trick-or-treating in their Halloween dresses. Love the little lamps as well. Again, good to practice your light sources. Got some flowers on this one. This is looking completely opposite to witches, you would think. It's looking quite Bridgerton, very Regency. Then we've got a Halloween gingerbread castle, and the little cat is looking up as if he is ready to lick off some of that icing when nobody's looking. We've got a well with lots of florals. And this one's nice. I was thinking about colouring this as well, but it had pumpkins on, so I left it. But yeah, just two gardening witches. White witches growing their own herbs and tinctures and things like that. I've missed one again. Here we are. Pumpkin picnic. So they're carving their pumpkins on the picnic table by the torchlight. Now what's going on here? So this looks like a map room. We've got cameras and magnifying glasses and kind of this kind of waistcoat. It's kind of Sherlocky. Reminds me of that. Feathers. And there's a sword here. There's kind of some hidden bits that you might not see on first glance. And looks like they're at the desk writing some letters here. So again, there's things that you might be able to collect throughout this book. Keys. I've seen a couple of those embedded in the images. But nothing is said to that idea. It's just something that I've noticed. There's nothing in the book that says you have to collect things. So we've got the bakery or the sweet shop, and then the two witches on one broom with the kitty and the bats, and that's that book. Next up is Year of Witches. I believe these are in order, but I could be wrong. Order of release, I mean. So this book was coloured by Again. Now the elements are shrunk and quite close into this. I feel that might have been an oversight. Maybe it should have been stretched to cover the whole page, because these are really quite small details, but maybe not. So we have a tea party. And what could this looks like a boba tea. I think that's what they call them, with the little beads in the bottom or whatever they are. I've never had one, but I've seen them around. And again, looking very normal. Dressed like civilians, but so I guess they're witches undercover. We have some more witchy elements, and they're tromping through the pumpkin patch here to collect their pumpkins. So we've got another couple of people on this one. So here are the two witches, and they seem to have found, well, they've both got fangs, these two, so they seem to have found a couple of vampiric friends on their walk around. This one's got bare feet. She looked very natural and Mother Earth. And here they are, sat underneath this really cool sort of raven-shaped umbrella with claws, having an afternoon tea. And what's happening here? We've got the tea cozy over the teapot. Looks like they're discussing something, but they've got lots of potion books, and there's some honey here and a crystal ball. Guess they're discussing their next spell. And they're up on the roof of the thatched cottage here with the chimney smoking, having a nice little warm drink at the end of the day. So here is their desk with lots of elements to colour. Kind of reminds me very loosely of a Johanna Basford Rooms of Wonder illustration, because you've got the cabinet, but then you've got all of the different elements on there to colour, so that will take quite a while. Have some more witchy elements. These look winter themed, so you can see we've got candles with little ferns making up a wreath at the bottom, winter spell book covered in snow, and then this gorgeous, really warm cape. These look like some Quidditch players, I think. I don't know whether that was meant to be the intention, but that's what I think they look like. So you could do them in your favourite Harry Potter house colours. And then they're sat in a cafe. They have their warm scarves. It's snowing outside, so obviously we've moved into that wintry period. And I love the little dried orange slices on the trees here. got, she looks like kind of like an angel holding a candle. Now you will notice that these figures don't seem to have any eyes, or at least they're not filled in. So it's up to you how you want to do that. But the illustrator has given some options for how to do that on her Instagram. So it's up to you. I think she's left, that's obviously her style, to leave them empty. And it's up to you whether you want to keep that emptiness and give it that strange sort of look because they are witches, or whether you want to fill them in and how you decide to do that. So we have some spring elements here. So this book, of course, is Year of Witches. So we're going through the seasons, if you didn't pick that up already, because I've only just remembered to mention it. So we have spring theme, spring cleaning, gardening, lots of new flowers and cuttings, and tulips, Easter eggs, things like that. And here they are in their floral garb. And it seems as though they're on the bus or the train here. It will tell us on the next page, I'm sure. Oh, it just says homebound. So they've been on a trip and they're going home, looking very tired. Now here they are in their magical greenhouse, making all of their potions and growing herbs and things. It's just really nice to have the two witches always together. You can obviously make these into your own characters and use the same hair and skin on each witch as you go through the book, so that it's almost a story of the same witches. Now here's the one that I coloured, and I'm not, you know, overly pleased with this. I didn't spend an awful lot of time on it, and you can probably tell. I can't stand how I've done this face because it just didn't work out. The ink started bleeding, and there's no room to do any alcohol marker blends on that skin, so it just looks a bit odd. But I do like the colours that I chose, the red and the yellow, and I do think it looks quite wet and watery and rainy. So yeah. Then we have the witches at the beehives. And we have some, I believe, autumn elements. Let's have a look. We've got a snake. We've got these wreaths that look quite autumnal, but it could be summer. We have a slice of watermelon here. It could be summer, this one. I've not really been keeping track on where we are in the year. I know we've done winter and spring. So yeah, I think this, yeah, it says it here. Summer Witch Essentials is the name. So we are in the summer. This one's really nice. All the lily pads, the gorgeous boat with the hanging lantern. You can see how thin the paper is because you can very clearly see the illustration underneath. So if that gives you some idea. This is nice. She's got her hair braided and tied up. And it looks like they're manning a stall here, maybe for a summer fair. Yeah, it's the harvest fair. So we are moving into winter now, autumn, sorry. I guess that would have to be the best till last, the autumn season for these Halloween books. Lots and lots of detail and things to colour on this one. We've got some of those Venus flytrap plants down here. What else do we have lurking on this page? Like a tiny little terrarium, or is it terrarium or vivarium when you have the little greenery spaces like botanics growing in a very small area? I don't know. I'm waffling. Oh, there we go. So that is the 3 witch books done. Now we move on to Lonely Pumpkin, and we've got Lonely Pumpkin 1 and Lonely Pumpkin 2. So we will start off with the first. Now, instead of having the 2 witches always having a friend by their side, we have little Mr. Pumpkin on his own. It's quite sad, really. Thicker line work on this in most instances, and this one I think is mainly a lot simpler than the 3 witch books. So there's lots of larger spaces to colour. There's not too many details on each illustration. Obviously that varies, but it's quite sad, this little Lonely Pumpkin. You can see he's going for his little walks alone. He's having a swing on his own. And yeah, you can just see how the line work has thickened up. I believe that this might be sort of catered towards younger colourists. So he's trying to trap some ghosts and ghouls here. I guess he's trying to make some friends. And we have him in the graveyard. I'm going to visit somebody with some flowers. And the pumpkin witch going on the broom. Again, this little cute face in the lantern. Looks like he's trying to attract some nocturnal insects. Now this one, it kind of reminds me of Evil Dead because all those branches taking on life and wrapping him up. And then he's raking leaves here. And he's got the ghost talking to him. What's this one called? Haunted Body. There you go. It's raining, he's got his little frog friends. And he's making some paper craft bats. You know, and you used to cut out like the edges of a folded piece of paper like a snowflake. He's made some bats. I say he. Could be a girl, could be a lonely girl pumpkin. Doing some spell work. And then putting that back on the shelf when he's finished. The ghost pumpkin, what does it say? Boo. That's the name of the illustration, Boo. So, I mean, even though this looks very, very simple and basic, with the draping fabric and with it usually being white as well for a ghost, this does give you a little bit of space to practice how to colour something white and also how to colour three-dimensional folds in fabric as well. We've got a pumpkin man. No, it's not a snowman, it's a pumpkin man made out of melted pumpkins. And here's my finished illustration. Again, kept the palette very cohesive, just went with blue, yellow and orange for the most part, a little bit of green in there as well. Yeah, I like it. Again, these are very simple images and it's easier to colour with markers than it is to colour with pencils. So I don't want to take too much credit for, you know, any technique on this because it was very simple to colour. But I think keeping those colour palettes cohesive is what makes it look, to the eye, probably nicer than it actually is. You can see the blends on the back here are quite rubbish. But hey-ho, it was fun to do. So he's in a straw hat here, playing his little banjo. What's this one called? Forest Serenade. I think he's just trying to make friends. That's his main goal and aim throughout this book. So he's watering his little skull flowers. And then he's baking some bat cookies. His little apron as well. He's reached a dead end here with some animal carcasses. And we've got some cats playing around. He doesn't look very happy and he's trying to make friends, but he looks a little bit overwhelmed, looks a little bit like I am around a lot of people. This is called Black Cat's Coven. So we've got a coven of cat witches here. He has some, this looks like something you'd eat at a fair, but his is full of bones, so I guess that's what he likes to eat. And he's got a cat balloon to take home with him. Here he's been drying some flowers, maybe to give to the witches to make their potions and lotions. And he's looking slightly happier here because he's managed to bag a dance with a ghost. What does this one say? Midnight dance practice. You can imagine this lonely pumpkin living all alone, much like Edward Scissorhands, in a huge old haunted mansion, all by himself. So he's hanging up the ghosts to dry. That's quite funny, actually, because obviously ghosts and blankets and, yeah. It's funny. It tickles me anyway, but I'm easily amused. So it looks like he's found a couple of friends he actually wants to know, a couple of pumpkin friends of his own kind. And he's made these pumpkin friends into real boys, and they are going on their trick-or-treat adventures as a ghost and a vampire. Here is maybe his house, maybe it's a scary kind of church or something. Let's see what that says. Home Sweet Haunted Home. So that is Mr. Pumpkin's house. And he's decorating for Halloween/Christmas. And that is the end of that book. Now we have one more. It's Lonely Pumpkin 2. I wonder if he'll be any luckier in finding himself some companions in this one. Let's see. So again, I feel like this is off centre and it's not stretched as wide as it maybe should be to fill that whole square of the page. But anyway. Okay, so he's peeping out of the curtains here, so I'm guessing that this is his house. Love the door made from bones and the big back door knocker and lots of creepy crawly ivy against the brick. Here's the one that I coloured. Did this again with alcohol markers and some Posca gold pen just to get a bit of bit of shine on this old furniture. So you can see the blends aren't anywhere near perfect at all, but I tried my best. I did actually colour over this portrait that's on the wall, and I tried to hide it a bit with some gold details on the wallpaper, but didn't quite work. Yeah, enjoyed it. I love how it's turned out. Again, limited colour palette, and yeah, it's a bit of fun colouring, I suppose. Halloween is meant to be a fun time of year anyway, and just to maybe do some little Halloween crafts, maybe incorporate some of this colouring with your kids, or if you've got if you're a teacher and you've got students, younger students, and maybe want to do an activity on a rainy afternoon, you could bring out one of these books. It'd be quite cute, because I guess it's showing, you know, Halloween, but not in a gory way. It's in a kind of cutesy, cartoony way. Love this one. What's this one called? Fallen Leaves. So he's trying to catch himself a moth on this one. I always say himself, he's wearing a dress. I don't know, could be a girl. What do you think? Do you think this is Mr. or Mrs. Pumpkin? And now he's got, this very much reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas, when you go into the woods and you see the trees with Christmas Town and Halloween Town. So I think that's probably where this inspiration came from. Yeah, it's called This Is Halloween, so. And we're in the graveyard again with all the broken down stones, and of course he has his little dog. It looks very suspiciously like Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas. And he has adopted Zero, and he's now taking him on a little walk with some, of course, bones for treats. Maybe he's knitting himself this huge long scarf to wrap himself up in, to give himself a hug, because there's no one else to do it. Oh, boo-hoo. He's on the dead carousel. So this is actually really cool. You've got the unicorn's head and the horse's body, but then you've got a fish tail, so like a mermaid tail. Here he is with some bat balloons, I guess coming back from the carnival. He's having a little bath, a little soak in the tub with lots of bubbles, and his rather scary looking rubber duck. Here he is playing to Zero, looking quite happy now. He's got a little friend. Who is he calling on this amazing phone? Look at this phone. It's like a square box. I want this phone. This is really cool, but it's a landline. You can see it's tethered, but anyway, it's vintage. And this is very much reminiscent of ye old, I can't even remember what it's called, where they hold the head. Is it Hamlet? I think it's Hamlet. And you've got the candles. Does it tell you on the back? Yeah, to be or not to be. I believe that's Hamlet, isn't it? I'm probably getting it completely wrong. And then he's going on a little boat ride around the reeds. You can see there are some fish swimming around, but it is only their carcass, so they are dead fish. Now he's taking Zero out on a bike ride. I absolutely love how the wheels of this bike have cobweb designs on them, and then here you can see this is almost bat-like on this part of the bike. Here he is carving his pumpkins for Halloween in the barn. I don't know what this is down here. And he's being chased by a lightning storm that has come alive. This one's called Bad Weather, understatement. Now he's playing a few tunes. Maybe this was a frog that I saw in the previous page. Playing a few tunes on the piano. And he's bagged himself a giant toadstool. It says that's lunch. I should think that would be lunch for about 3 months for Mr. Pumpkin. Now he's taking Zero on a nighttime walk around the castle in his night dress. Little bunny slippers as well, but of course dead bunny slippers. And here he's found some treasure in the castle. We've got crowns and jewels and swords and necklaces and of course coins. And here he is asleep, tucked up in bed. Little ghost sitting in his cup, and Zero asleep on the bed as well. Now he is getting dressed up, I assume, for Halloween trick-or-treating. I'm not entirely sure what this costume is meant to be, but it's really cool. And he's in the library reading a story while we've got Zero asleep on the big bear rug. Nice, comfy and cosy. Going on a nighttime walk. and looking out the window at the moon, I guess, with a nice warm cozy cup of cocoa. And finally, he's going on a little night ride, a little night fly actually, with Zero. He hasn't got any wings, so I don't know how he's flying, but it's all magic, isn't it? Anyway, we've reached the end of the book, and thus the end of all 5 of Uusikuu's books on Halloween and witches. So I would love to know which one you like best. I'd love to know if you like them at all, actually, if it's your kind of thing. If it's not, leave all your comments below. Did say I was going to do a quick blend, didn't I, just to test the paper with pencil, so I will do that before we leave. Let's go on to the last page, and let me just quickly grab some Prismas out of my spares. Let's see, I need a red. I've got a quick red here, permanent red. Then we want an orange. Here we go. Let's just keep getting some different shades of orange and yellow. Don't think I've got a canary yellow in here. Got a lemon yellow. Maybe the lemon yellow will work. We'll give it a go. So let's try and do a blend. Just a very, very simple blend. So as I said, it is super thin paper. It does have some tooth to it, but it's a very light tooth. It's not going to give you, you know, 5, 6, 7 layers, unless you're incredibly light with your pencil, which I'm not. So just want to prove to you that blending can be done. Now I do know that Prisma are easy to blend, so I hope you don't think I'm cheating by using these pencils, but it should give you a very quick idea of whether or not you can achieve blends on this paper, which you can really. I mean, they're not perfect. I can see the distinct line between each colour. Don't know whether you can pick that up as well, but it's not too bad. As I said, I'm never ever going to say this is a really good paper, because it clearly isn't, but it's up to you. It's up to you. If you're buying them for your kids, obviously it doesn't matter really what the quality of the paper is. If you're just buying them for something quick and fun to colour, I don't think it's going to matter too much to you either. But of course you can always scan the images, print them on your preferred paper. It's a little bit of a pain to do that, but some people prefer it that way. So we've got 2 layers of pencil, and it's not all that bad. So still keeps the vibrancy, you just can't layer on it, and the blends aren't perfect. So all the links for all 5 of these books will be in the description. Of course, with them being Amazon printed, you will find them on Amazon. So click the links in the description, go ahead, look at whichever one you like. And again, yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments. I make these videos to interact with you, you know, so I would love to hear from you. I always do. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on Colour with Claire.